12. Good Morning San Antonio starts right now.
It's Friday. It is April 24th. When you think of America, what do you think?
Well, I think the eagle has landed.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We have some great news, especially out of the state of Ohio, other than the fact they're celebrating getting the #1 pick in last night's NFL draft.
Oh, there's that, which we'll talk about more of that a little bit later. Here's the great news. Their bald eagle population has soared by 151% since the last statewide head count 8 years ago.
This year's survey found 707 bald eagle nests. There were just 281 back in 2012.
The Eagles' comeback in Ohio and across the country proves that we can overcome any challenge when we work together, Ohio's governor said.
As recently as 1979, there were only four pairs of birds in the whole darn state.
It's so hard to believe, and I remember when that was a really big deal. They were in danger of extinction due to habitat destruction, poaching, and the contamination of their food supply with chemicals like DDT.
But after a countrywide conservation effort, the numbers grew over the past 4 decades, and federal authorities removed them from the list of threatened and endangered species back in 2007. They came off of Ohio's list 5 years later.
Verified nests in 85 of Ohio's 88 counties.
And bald eagles are protected by both state and federal laws. They have shown promising resurgence elsewhere in the country as well.
And as you mentioned, they are protected species. So wildlife authorities say bird watchers should observe them from at least 100 yards away. I didn't realize this. Approaching a nest could lead parents to abandon their eggs.
Yes, and we've been talking about Ohio. Listen to this. Arizona reports they've got the first known photos of bald eagles nesting in cactus there in the state, a scene they hadn't seen documented in photos since 1937.
Look how beautiful they are. So that's really good news.
America.
Let's take a look at your rundown.
New this morning, a man's in the hospital being treated for a gunshot wound to the neck. San Antonio police say it happened around 1:15 this morning on Blanco between Wurzbach Parkway and West Avenue. Bexar County is starting to see the curve flatten.
But there are still an increasing number of deaths and cases. Mayor Ron Nierenberg says 1,167 people have been diagnosed, 43 have died.
The U.S. death toll from the virus will reach 50,000 people. It was back on April 6th when we first hit 10,000 deaths. And as you can see, the number has been rising by 10,000 every week.
COVID-19 entered the U.S. weeks earlier than thought, in early or mid-January, says research from the Network Science Institute at Northeastern University in Boston.
Lawmakers have approved a $480 billion coronavirus relief bill to help businesses trying to survive this crisis.
And we have to be as bipartisan as we can possibly be.
A $25 million COVID-19 relief package was passed by the San Antonio City Council this week. Depending on income, a family could get up to $3,500 in rent and mortgage assistance and $1,500 for utility bills.
The Trump administration may soon force some changes to be made at the U.S. Postal Service as part of an emergency coronavirus loan. The changes could include increasing what the post office charges for package delivery.
Local doctors calling on former COVID-19 patients to be donors, saying antibodies help fight the disease. The peak time frame is 28 days after infection.
Spot the robot dog helping fight coronavirus by allowing staff at a hospital in Boston to work with patients remotely. Spot's creator outfitted the robot with an iPad and a two-way radio.
The Iowa family making the best of all their time together. They used chalk to create a neighborhood Monopoly game. The game even included giant dice and, of course, free parking.
Can I ask you a question?
Well, first of all, let me say that's awesomeness.
It is all kinds of awesome. You guys did a sticker puzzle at your house?
Yes, did you see the picture?
I did. Is it Post-it notes or is it smaller stickers than that?
Itty bitty squares.
Okay, it was a scene of hot air balloons.
Yeah, you know what? I will send it to producer. Maybe we can or I could send it to you and you can pull it up.
Or to Justin, our weather producer.
All right.
Yeah.
But yes, we could not find puzzles. They're very hard to come by nowadays.
Right.
Everybody wants to do a puzzle.
So a sticker puzzle.
So I ordered one, did not know it was a sticker puzzle until it arrived, and we were like,
what do you do with this?
Puzzle. And it has it's just a bunch of different colors of squares.
You got to see this.
And it has a key, and so it says if number 1 is blue, number 2 is, and you just have to. Yeah.
So it's like Twister with tiny Post-it notes.
No, it's not like Twister at all. It's like nothing. It's more like paint my number with stickers.
Yes, thank you, Jamie. That makes much more sense.
Twister. Where's that brain of yours going?
It's Friday, so anything's possible.
What was that, Jamie? You've done one too? Oh, she got one for her birthday from her sister. Well, it turned out great.
I feel as though if you have like fat fingers like me, it would be really frustrating because...
I will say there was one evening I was not my best.
Okay.
But my daughter did great.
Well, it looked good. You guys did a really good job.
I'm going to send it to you right now.
Okay, so very comfortable this morning, guys. We had temperatures in the 50s and 60s. Look where we are now, 75 degrees. It shows us where we're going here because we're going into the 90s, I think, this afternoon. We could see a 40-degree swing in temperatures. It's going to be very, very hot. 96 is what we're shooting for. The record high, by the way, 99, set back in 1894. Yes, they did collect records back then. It is going to be hot for everybody this afternoon. There is an ozone action day in effect. Basically, we're going to see high levels of ozone pollution a little bit later today. At least the setup is there for that. So just keep that in mind if you have asthma or anything like that. Something to remember. 96, as we mentioned, 90 by 8 o'clock. Southwesterly winds 10 to 15 miles per hour. It's going to be more of a dry heat. And then a cold front comes in tonight, brings more changes by the weekend. We're going to talk more about that coming up in just a few minutes. Also, we're going to look back to a significant weather event back in 2007. We've got more on that here in just a few minutes, guys.
And we'll pull up the image of this sticker puzzle we've been raving about. I-10 at Hewerman. Normal construction zone out there by Leon Springs. Traffic is looking good in both directions. Let's get to your top stories today. We have an update to a story now we've been telling you about since yesterday here on KSAT. We now know the name of a man involved in an officer-involved shooting yesterday on San Antonio's west side.
52-year-old Michael Hogan is currently at a hospital in stable condition. He's expected to recover from the gunshot wounds to his torso and leg. The shooting happened yesterday at an apartment complex near Westwood and Westfield, which is right off Highway 90 in West Military. Police say they were responding to a burglary. Just as they arrived, bullets were flying, hitting one patrol car window and the computer inside.
No officers were hurt in the shooting. Hogan will be charged with attempted capital murder of a police officer.
We have learned that a man is now dead after he was hit by a van last night.
The Bexar County medical examiner confirming the information earlier this morning. It happened while the man was crossing the street near Hillcrest and Bandera last night, right around 9:30.
The driver did stop to help. They do not believe the driver was intoxicated. The man died at the hospital. As the world continues to struggle against the onslaught of the deadly coronavirus, Muslims are being forced to adapt to a new normal amid their holiest time, Ramadan.
And here at San Antonio, no exception. Followers of Islam are being told to pray at home instead of going to a mosque. The Islamic Center of San Antonio told people not to come in due to the pandemic. Ramadan, a month-long event with traditions that include fasting and prayer.
And some businesses able to provide services through pickup or delivery are expected to open in Texas today.
That's right. Texas Governor Greg Abbott has said Texas will reopen massive amounts of businesses soon, but it's unclear what rules could be for hair salons and dining inside of Texas restaurants.
Governor Abbott could make an announcement on the second phase to reopen as early as later today. We will make sure to bring you the latest on air and online at KSAT.com. If you're missing all the Fiesta festivities, don't worry, we got you covered. Today, we are rebroadcasting the 2019 Battle of Flowers Parade. That's starting today at 2 o'clock. SA Live will be hosting a party right beforehand at 1 o'clock as we rebroadcast the parades and events. KSAT highlighting Fiesta charities and letting you know that you can donate to these nonprofits through the Fiesta Commission website. That's fiestasanantonio.org. You can also find more information on how we celebrate Fiesta at home right now on KSAT.com. And in your morning headlines, a fire station damaged by a wild driver and using a smart car to get away from police, not so smart. Help from those who really know how to deal with pandemics and putting smiles on faces even during these days of the coronavirus. Hey, David. Hi, David.
Ooh, happy Friday.
Happy Friday to you.
I'm trying to figure out that twister thing.
Yeah, it did not make any sense.
Out? Okay.
Left foot blue. But she said not even
nothing
close.
to do with a puzzle.
Okay.
It's numbers and pictures.
That's it.
Hey, you know, you're supposed to call the fire station, not ram into it when you need help. But apparently this driver thought otherwise. This is surveillance video. The SUV went right into the station's bay door. The station located in Monterey, California. The biggest problem they had, firefighters had to go with a backup fire truck because they couldn't get their main truck out of the garage thanks to all the damage. Crews at the station said it was an act of vandalism. Going to cost them about 20 grand to fix the door. If this wasn't so serious, it'd be pretty funny. That's a guy leading police on a chase in Phoenix, and he's driving a smart car. Apparently, the guy was yelling outside a Walmart. Police were called. He wouldn't talk to him, got in his smart car and took off. They were in hot pursuit. The car finally stopped, apparently ran out of battery power. The driver taken into custody, no injuries, and no word on any charges as of yet. That just doesn't look right. Hey, talk about somebody who has been through it. Meet Gertrude Larson. She's 104. She lived through the Spanish flu pandemic back in 1918 and is now dealing with COVID-19. Gertrude lives in Ferguson Falls, Minnesota, and is a former nurse. She is sewing masks for nursing home staff and residents. That sewing machine she's using, little history behind that, she bought it back in 1939, and that thing is still cranking out those masks. She's doing what she says her ancestors did, taking care of one another. Good for her. Hey, charities that are frequent visitors to cancer patients and children's hospitals are having to come up with a few new ways to keep those kids smiling through tough times since everybody's dealing with COVID-19. So look how they're all dressed. This is in Connecticut. Volunteers dressing up in superhero outfits, T-Rex outfits, whatever it takes to make sure everybody has a smile on their faces, even coming up with new approaches. Isn't that pretty? Look at those little guys up there.
T-Rexes and Scooby and
Look at all that.
Minions.
Everybody.
BB-8 from Star Wars.
I love the Minions.
They're pretty cool. Good idea. So
You're coming back to talk draft stuff.
well, I know you saw a little bit of it last night.
I did.
I'm sure you stayed up all the way through the Cowboys pick at 17, right? About 9:30, 9:45?
Yeah, no, I was in bed, I think at 6 last night.
It was interesting.
I heard good things about it, actually.
Very interesting. Yeah, it was very well done. I mean, considering what they had to work with. Yeah. It was well done. We'll talk about that coming up in a few minutes.
I look forward to it.
Yes, sir. Thank you, David. Right now, 9:09, 75 degrees, still ahead on GMSA at 9.
While healthcare workers are busy working on the front lines of the coronavirus pandemic, they're also trying to make people feel better any way possible. What 6 healthcare workers created to go above and beyond and to bring a smile to their patients' faces.
And COVID-19 didn't stop the draft from happening last night. David Sears is going to come back, talk with his highlights about what happened last night, including the Roger Goodell reporting from his basement there in New York, and the pick of that young man now going to lead the Cincinnati Bengals.
Classrooms may be empty, but one local school is taking a break from homework and virtual classes to carry out a years-long tradition, a fiesta tradition. I'll have that story for you just ahead on GMSA at 9.
Checking the stock market, it's down, but not by much, only 8 points at 23,508. Welcome back, everybody. It's 14 minutes after 9. During the coronavirus pandemic, schools across Bexar County have shut down and canceled events, including fiesta celebrations.
Harmony Hills Elementary in NEISD decided to take a break from homework assignments to carry out a years-long tradition of a fiesta float parade. Only this year, it's virtual.
Alicia Badetta is live with more on this virtual fiesta celebration. Viva Fiesta! Hi, Alicia.
Good morning, Viva Fiesta. I hope y'all can hear me talk about timing over there, but let me tell you, third graders at Harmony Hills Elementary, well, they didn't want to wait until November to celebrate Fiesta, neither do I. But teachers say that they made this change because they just wanted to give these kids a break. Of course, these times have been tough for the kids as well. So they took things virtually, a tradition that they've had for years. Every year, Harmony Hills Elementary has a school-wide celebration with music and fun, and it's led by Churchill High School band and cheerleaders. But this year, of course, it's much different, but even more meaningful for the kids. The third graders, they were able to get more creative this year. They made floats inspired by Michael Jackson. They had beautiful paper flowers on them, dinosaurs, pianos, and much more. Third grader Evan even had a taco on his float, and another third grader put their float on a remote control car. And I did speak to one of the teachers that helped lead this effort this year, Mrs. Dana Kamansky. She's a third grade teacher at Harmony Hills Elementary. She had a very fun background during our Zoom interview, and she shared with me why this assignment is so important to the teachers as well as the kids.
I just thought this might be a neat story, and bring joy to not only our school, but other schools seeing the kids' floats and things like that. I get real excited to see the smiles on their face. And at this time, I think they're tired of being cooped up in the house, just doing their assignments for us and giving them the opportunity to do something fun and having some more family time at home with their friends.
And because I'm sure we all need a break, this is an activity families can take part in for their at-home fiesta. All you really need is a shoe or tissue box, and look around for some materials that you can decorate the box with. You don't have to leave home. And just ahead on GMSA at 9 in the next half hour, I did speak to one of the students that participate. His name is Logan. He's a third grader, and he tells me he's actually really happy that things turned out the way they did this year. I'll tell you why coming up. Reporting live at Market Square, Alicia Barrera, KSAT 12 News.
Alicia, thank you so much. Yeah, an empty but still festive Market Square. We'll talk to you coming up next half hour.
Don't forget, Battle of Flowers at 2 o'clock today.
That's right. All right, so we've been talking about this sticker puzzle. Where the heck did you get this thing?
I sent it to you. You have it?
No. I know. Yeah, but that's he's got it ready for you. Where did you find it?
I got it on Amazon, but like I said, I didn't know it was a sticker puzzle. I thought I was just getting I ordered 2 puzzles. This is it. Our Corona 19 puzzle number 1.
Where's puzzle number 2?
It hasn't arrived yet.
Oh.
And we think this number 2 puzzle is going to be a real actual piece puzzle, but we won't know till we actually get it. It's apparently coming from China.
Did you have to use like tweezers to?
How big were those pieces? Like
They're bitty squares, like kind of like, you know, those little square mint things, you know, the little like paper. What do you call them? Oh, you know what I'm talking about. I'm gonna tear one off right here. It's like about this big.
About that big.
Seriously.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
It's a little bitty. You can't even see it at home. It's so little bitty. But you peel them off and you just stick them on there, and it worked. Can you show it one more time?
Yeah, looks good. Yeah, we can pull it up for you.
Hey.
I'm impressed.
Thank you. Nicole did most of it. The worst parts are probably mine that you're looking at.
How long did it take you?
Took us about 3 or 4 days.
Okay.
We just kind of did it as we kept it on the community table in the kitchen, and everybody did it when they had time, sometimes together, sometimes apart.
Very nice. Good work.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to take a look back in history now. 2007, folks out in Eagle Pass remember this day very well. It was on this day in 2007 that we had that tornado that worked through Piedras Negras and then worked into Eagle Pass. It caused a lot of damage. Elementary school there in Eagle Pass was severely damaged by the tornado. Just a really busy day. Back in that spring of 2007. And unfortunately, there were some fatalities associated with that. We are not going to look for any severe weather, at least anytime soon. Maybe next week we have some chances for thunderstorms, but so far our severe weather season hasn't been so bad, and that is good news. Lows this morning, very comfortable. We got down to 57 here in town, 56 New Braunfels, 54 in Kerrville, 65 in Del Rio. We had the dry air, so the temperatures fell off. And now this afternoon, we're going to see those numbers really jump up. 96, the forecast high here in San Antonio. We're going to be looking at triple digits out west. So something like a 40-degree swing in temperatures from the low to high later today. And the reason for that, we have a dry line sitting out to the west. So moisture is actually trying to increase a little bit this morning, and it may through about midday. But then this dry line sweeps through. We get drier air coming in from the west. We've got a frontal boundary coming in from the north, and we get what's called compressional heating sometimes. Think about it like the cold front is shoving the air and squeezing it together. And that a lot of times will allow the air to heat up. And when you have dry air and southwesterly winds, all the things coming together here for a hot day. That's the bottom line. This front, though, will slide through, and then that will cool us down tomorrow, bring in some drier air. Also point out that out ahead of the front in far east Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, they're going to see severe weather today. They're going to get another round of strong storms. There could be some tornadoes mixed in there. Dry air for us, though, as we get into tomorrow. There's that risk of severe weather today. Texarkana down to Tyler, probably east of Dallas, and then working towards Louisiana and Arkansas, as we mentioned. 75 degrees right now. Dew point is at 56. We've already got that southwesterly wind kicking in at about 10 miles per hour. 70s across Bexar County, and then 74 Kennedy, 73 Cotulla. There is a little bit of cloud cover down there, but we're not going to worry about clouds today. Dew points, as I mentioned, trying to increase a little bit, but they're still on the dry side. They'll come down for sure this afternoon into the 50s, and then tomorrow we stay in the 50s. In fact, all weekend we'll see low dew points, so it'll feel good. 96, as we mentioned today, hot weather, southwesterly winds 10 to 15 miles per hour, and then 83 coming up tomorrow, a little bit breezy but cooler. 85 on Sunday. Humidity returns on Monday, and then Tuesday and Wednesday, those are a couple days we'll have to watch. There could be a couple storms out there. If we did get some storms, it could be on the strong side, but right now the rain chances look really pretty low. That'll be something we'll watch, though, as we get through the weekend, guys.
Cool. Thanks very much, Justin. 921, 75 degrees.
You are saying cool a lot today.
Just that was the only time I was joking with you.
Still ahead on GMSA at 9. Besides being busy combating the coronavirus, some healthcare workers are going above and beyond to make sure their patients are happy.
Healthcare workers, of course, on the front lines battling the pandemic.
And still, many of them are going above and beyond their jobs. CNN's Camilla Bernal shows us how.
Healthcare workers are putting themselves in the path of this virus. And beyond that, they're doing anything they can to help their communities and their patients smile.
You feel like a rock star up there.
They are not just rock stars. They're a neurologist, a pediatrician, and 2 paramedics. The members of this band are staying 6 feet apart and trying to motivate people to enjoy some music outside with caution.
We're trying to, as we say, spread love, not the virus. Spread music, not the virus.
In Massachusetts, a nurse seeing the pain of one of her patients suffering alone decided to do more. She bought a printer and immediately began printing pictures of her patient's family. Her patient did not survive, but the family says her gesture made a world of difference.
I truly believe she needed those pictures to let her go.
That was an emotional moment for me. Got into my car and that just kind of let it all come out.
And in New York, a mom thanking the hospital staff for caring for her baby for 25 days. This while she battled COVID-19.
Yes, you hear mommy. Good daughter, you're so pretty.
The mom and the baby are both healthy. They were finally allowed to go home for some much needed time together. I'm Camila Bernal reporting.
Much more ahead on GMSA at 9. Right now it is 9:26.
One of the biggest problems the country has faced related to the coronavirus has been the availability of testing. Still ahead on GMSA at 9, CNN's Whitney Wild joins us to talk about the testing dilemma and more on the states ready to reopen.
Let's check the roads with TransGuide. Bright sunshine out there. 151 at 410 in that construction zone. No accidents we're seeing on any of the cameras right now. We'll be right back. Just about 9:30. Welcome back on your Friday morning. Georgia is set to reopen part of its economy today, letting fitness centers, bowling alleys, barbers, and hair salons resume business.
President Trump said he disagrees with the Georgia governor, Brian Kemp's decision, but wants to leave the decision to the governors. CNN's Whitney Wild joins us live from Washington, D.C. with the very latest. Good morning, Whitney.
Good morning to you. Where the president's remarks actually represent a shift in tone from the White House. Earlier, he said that Governor Kemp was very capable, that he trusted his decision making. Then, of course, 24 hours later, he changed his attitude toward this decision. And that is largely coming at the advice of the top doctors on his coronavirus task force, who warn that the infection rate in Georgia has simply not dropped to a point where they think it's safe to be reopening businesses. The White House has been recommending a 14-day sustained infection rate drop. Georgia has not seen that yet, and there's new modeling to suggest that things could begin to get really dire in Georgia. In fact, the death toll there could rise significantly. That's according to new data. Mark and Leslie.
Whitney, Congress just passed another coronavirus stimulus package yesterday. What's in it, and what is Congress working on next?
Well, the main thing here is to flood the Small Business Administration with loans for small businesses. Part of that is $60 billion dedicated to smaller lenders. So that should help shuffle through some of these smaller lenders who have maybe been overlooked, had greater difficulty getting some of that funding, because as we know, the SBA has been overwhelmed by inquiries from small businesses all around the country. So the hope is that that $60 billion may be better used and more effective in some of those community banks where there are stronger relationships. So that's the first thing. And as we look toward the horizon, the president has been speaking very much about infrastructure. That's still up in the air. So a lot of things to be determined. Right now, though, what we know is that they've passed what is sort of a mini bill. It's just a way to cash flush these places where it was clear based on that $2.2 trillion bill that there was a really strong need. Mark and Leslie.
Well, several states are retracing their coronavirus timelines, and increasingly it's looking like COVID-19 was in the U.S. much earlier than originally thought. So what are health officials saying?
Absolutely. So they're trying to get a handle on what the real impact and the real infection rate is throughout the United States. There's data from each coast showing that it's very likely COVID-19 actually came to the United States in more like early to mid-January. That is upending a lot of these theories about, one, the prevalence of community spread, and two, how impactful this is, because what it would also show likely is the chance that there are far more asymptomatic people out there than previously realized, or that the death toll is much higher than we thought. And as far as the death toll is concerned, the evidence that scientists are using to support that theory comes from California. Now, there are only 2 cases to show this, but they're significant. There are 2 cases out of Santa Clara County, California, Northern California, where tissue specimens show 2 people died from COVID-19 in early February, 3 weeks before the first known coronavirus death in the United States. So that is a huge revelation, and it's changing the way health officials are tracing the infection rate, changing how they're looking at their data, and changing their perspective on the potential impact of COVID-19 throughout the United States. Mark and Leslie.
Real quick, Whitney, we're out of time, but we teased it, so we got to talk about it. What is Anthony Fauci, Dr. Fauci, saying about the U.S. in regards to our increased ability to do testing?
He says, frankly, we are not there yet, Mark and Leslie.
All right, CNN Whitney Wild in Washington. Thank you, Whitney. Have a good weekend, okay? Thanks.
All right, let's take you back outside live with Live Cam. It is a beautiful day, but it's going to warm up today.
Yeah, if the kiddos want to go outside, now's probably the time. Get them outside now, because this afternoon is going to be plenty hot. Now, the good news is at least it'll be more of dry heat this afternoon. Right now, we're sitting at 75 degrees here in San Antonio after starting off in the 50s this morning. Most places in the 70s at this point. 70 Canyon Lake, 74 New Braunfels, 70 Comfort, 70 in Los Maples. The other thing you want to consider when sending those kids outside today, it is an ozone action day, so there is some higher levels of ozone in the atmosphere. Sometimes we see this when the air gets a little stagnant this time of year. Just something to keep in mind. And on top of that, we've got mold. 1,950 jumped up a little bit today. Hopefully it goes down in the coming days with some drier air in place. Oak is all the way down there at 40. It's almost going away at this point. We would like to see that. 95 degrees by 3 o'clock, 96 the high temperature today. Southwesterly winds 10 to 15 miles per hour. And if you're not a fan of the heat, there is a cool down. Comes tonight, actually. We've got the details on that here in just a few minutes. Leslie?
All right, thank you very much. Well, the at-home fiesta celebrations continue across the city, and even schools are having fun with it.
That's right. Classrooms may be empty, but one NEISD elementary school decided to take a break from homework to carry out a years-long tradition and bring joy to their students.
Alicia Barrera's live from Market Square with more on this virtual festivity. Hey there, Alicia.
Good morning. Well, yeah, it's still morning. I was about to say good afternoon. Well, this parade by Harmony Hills Elementary has been held for years and years. Usually what it looks like is they even have big visitors coming. So it's the Churchill High School band as well as the cheerleaders. They make a big party for the students, and it's led by administrators. And this year, well, things are looking much different. They're taking things virtually. Take a look at what these students made this year. Third graders at Harmony Hills got super creative with their fiesta floats. Floats were decorated using CDs, markers, balloons, figurines, really anything that the students can find at home. All for the final product that included a Michael Jackson inspired float. One student made beautiful paper flowers and rainbows. Others had dinosaurs and a music theme. One even used an actual wagon that would have been great for the real parade. A few stuck to the traditional fiesta colors. One student even put their float on a remote control car. And the teachers then made a parade video showcasing their students' work. And I was actually able to speak to one of the students that participated. His name is Logan Schweers, and he's from Mrs. Comancy's class. He shared he's actually really thankful he was able to work from home this year.
It was fun to put the whole thing together because I got to design it on my own. And usually when I do the others, I don't really have a huge model that I'm putting together. Yeah, because usually at school we would be there for almost the whole day. But since I'm not there for almost the whole day, then I have a lot of time to get my float done.
Logan did admit that some years he'll just head to Walmart and buy whatever he can, but this year he made an awesome float, and it's inspired by the U.S. Army, featuring some Army figures, a model tank, and all things camouflage. These are items, again, he already had at home. He even included a thank you letter that reads, Harmony Hills Hawks would like to thank all the military men and women serving San Antonio, Texas. Viva Fiesta. And of course, this is an activity that you at home can take part. Just use things that you already have at home. And maybe something that you can do with your family while you watch the rebroadcasting of last year's Battle of the Flowers Parade. That's being aired today at 2 p.m. Reporting live, Alicia Barrera, KSAT 12 News.
Oh, thank you, Alicia. He was adorable.
Yeah, Logan had no fear in that interview, did he?
No.
Alicia, thank you. We have some great news if you're a Parks and Rec fan. We talked about this on the early edition of GMSA, but we have a little bit more information for you.
I love that show. Did you love it?
It was funny stuff. And,
Really
and kind of like
good.
The Office, it launched quite a few careers.
It really did. And it had that same kind of funny vibe to it. But anyway, the original cast members of Parks and Recreation, they're getting back together for a coronavirus-related fundraising special.
That's right. Amy Poehler, Rashida Jones, Aziz Ansari, Nick Offerman, and Adam Scott among the sitcom stars to be featured in the half-hour special airing 7:30 Central Time coming up Thursday, April 30th on the Peacock Network, NBC.
Next week, the story will reflect the real-life crisis. It's going to be funny. Poehler's, Leslie, does she say her last name? I think it's Nope. But anyway, striving to stay in touch with her friends while observing social distancing.
This show's executive producer, Michael Schur, said, like a lot of other people, we were looking for ways to help and felt that bringing these characters back for a night could raise some money. I sent a hopeful email to the cast, and they all got back to me within 45 minutes.
So here's the deal, Pickle. Contributions will go to Feeding America's COVID-19 Response Fund, which is helping food banks serve vulnerable community members. Up to $500,000 in donations made through May 21st will be matched with contributions from NBC Universal, the sitcom's cast, writers and producers, and State Farm and Subaru of America.
Parks and Rec ran 7 seasons through 2015. Other cast members taking part in the special next week: Aubrey Plaza, Chris Pratt, Rob Lowe, Jem O'Hare, and Retta. Guests from the sitcom's Pawnee universe may pop in.
Pawnee. All right, so that's next Thursday, 7:30 our time. Make sure you watch it.
Right now, 9:39, 75 degrees. You're watching GMSA at 9.
Last night was day 1 of the NFL draft, and it was all virtual this year. David Sears is coming up with highlights. First round of the NFL draft took place last night, live from all over the country.
It was a virtual draft, but drafts still. NFL teams trying to improve their squads. David Sears back here again. We have lots to talk about here. And got to be honest, buddy, I don't get emotional when it comes to sports, but that show open, narrated by Peyton Manning, was awesome.
They had visuals of empty stadiums and empty restaurants and empty streets and just kind of what we're going through right now. And Peyton Manning did a really good job of voicing over it. Their theme last night was hope, and they paid a lot of tributes to the medical staff that's working in these hospitals and all across the country trying to help people with COVID-19. So that was their theme last night, and they kind of ran it through the whole draft.
Well, there was a big question, could it be pulled off? And it looks like they certainly did a good job of it.
It was different. You kind of miss the crowd that you would normally have if they were in a venue somewhere. It was weird watching the commissioner from his basement read the card and say who was being drafted. And of course, Joe Burrow was the first guy taken from LSU by the Cincinnati Bengals, and they had like 15 virtual fans that were coming in from each. You can see them right behind him. Right. So each team had their own set of fans that they were showing up with, and he was getting them to cheer.
So is that like a Zoom or something, and they would take that team's Zoom page or something?
Zoom page or something.
Gotcha.
Another thing that was kind of odd but kind of fun to watch was they would take shots of the general managers and the head coaches or the owners or whoever in their house, and their kids are like running around, hanging out with them. It's like, so you see family photos everywhere and all this kind of stuff.
I heard there were a lot of funny comments of things because of that. Not just the coaches, the players. You got to peek inside their homes.
Yeah,
that's right.
And I think one person was at Burroughs. They said now you can afford to get your mom new curtains or something like that.
But then there was the draft. I mean, it was the actual draft took place. I mean, the commissioner was reading off the cards, and the Cowboys, you saw Joe Burrow go first. The Cowboys picked CeeDee Lamb out of Oklahoma. He was thought to have been the first pick for receivers to go. He fell all the way to 17. And they were like, we can't pass this guy up.
So the Joneses snapped him up.
They needed
they weren't expecting to get that.
No, they thought he would be the first receiver taken or at least go in the top 10. They had no idea. They were thinking defense.
Well, what do you think?
So,
why
did he drop?
Yeah.
Well, the two guys from Alabama went before him. Receivers, there's a lot of them available this year in this year's draft. That's one of those things that happens to be the position where there's a lot of guys that are really talented. So they got him one.
So if you had to grade the first rounder, you give him an A?
Cowboys?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, give him an A because they already have Amari Cooper and they have they got rid of a bunch of guys. So they got Michael Gallup is the other one, and it's like Michael Gallup. Yeah, well, so Dak Prescott has no excuses. None. Zero.
And real quick, you're happy because a Texas Tech Red Raider went in round 1.
How many other schools
do you
did
need
not
your
get a round
soapbox
1?
today?
Not today. Wait till the season starts and we'll be pulling that thing out because if Dak Prescott doesn't do any better than he did last year, then we're in trouble.
Okay.
So, because he's got all kind of weapons. He's got Ezekiel Elliott. He's got 3 wide receivers plus some. They get some defensive guys. They got no excuses.
Soapbox has been cleaned, dust off, ready for use.
And the Texans get on the board today.
Texans get on the board today, second round. They got like 3 7th-round picks. They got a bunch of picks. Texas Tech, Jordan Brooks went 27 to the Seattle Seahawks.
You're proud.
So there you go.
We're
Texas
happy
Tech.
for you.
Yeah. How many big schools did not get players drafted, but Texas Tech did in the first round? Let me think who didn't get.
Why is he looking straight across the studio at Justin Horn?
I didn't see did a Longhorn get drafted in the first round last time? I don't.
He's looking at you too then.
So.
Thank you, David.
I don't think an Aggie got drafted in the first. I don't think so, but a Texas Tech Red Raider got drafted in the first round.
Can somebody cut his mic off now, please?
Your battery's just
He was giving the thumbs up. He was giving the gig him the whole time. So that,
okay. Those are fighting words right there.
Let me sing the Tech fight song for you.
No, that's okay. We're good. We're good. Trash talking's already begun. We don't have a college football season, maybe.
Awesome.
All right.
David, thank you.
Guys, we've got a junior meteorologist this morning.
Oh, good.
Another one. This is Orion. Take a listen.
Hi, San Antonio. Your temperatures will be 76 degrees, partly cloudy skies. Tomorrow we may have some scattered thunderstorms. Chances of rain, 30, 40, 50%. 1 p.m., 2 p.m., at 3 p.m. Tomorrow we will be having 76 degrees your temperatures. Bye, San Antonio.
And he's all using like new technology and stuff. He's got this down.
Yeah, well, the kiddos know how to use those much better than we do. But,
that's the truth.
Yeah, great job, man.
Good job.
We love all of these junior meteorologists coming in, and we've got several more to show you next week. We've also got a great picture here on KSAT Connect. This was sent in by Shar. This is if I'm saying it correctly, a caracara, which I've never seen one of these before, but they are here in South Texas. They mainly live in Mexico, but they do come up here into Texas. Pretty cool looking bird. This was out in Bulverde yesterday. We appreciate the picture, as always. Cool wildlife there. All right, 75 so far today. 57 was low this morning. That was below average, but we're going to go way above average this afternoon. The average high is 82. The record is 99, set way back in 1894. I don't think we'll get to the record, but we're going to get awful close. Mid-90s are in the forecast today. We're going with 96 here in San Antonio, 101 in Uvalde, 104 Carrizo Springs. And this is because we're going to see some drier air coming in from the west, and we'll get some southwesterly winds today, and it's just going to cause those temperatures to really race upward. They already are. And here is the setup. We've got a frontal boundary across West Texas. That will make it here. That's going to cool us down this weekend, but it's not here yet. We've got a dry line out to the west. This dry line is going to surge east today. It should make it to San Antonio, and some of that drier air will spread in from the west, and that's really going to help to create those hot temperatures. Then that frontal boundary slides south, and that's what's going to cool us down tomorrow and Sunday. Now, with this front, there is going to be some severe weather today out across parts of far east Texas, places that don't need it. Louisiana and Arkansas, and the computer models are breaking out some pretty strong storms there. There is an enhanced risk of severe weather in those areas today. But most of the weekend will be dry and quiet for us. There's a look at the enhanced risk, by the way. So Texarkana, Tyler, Texas, and then you get into Louisiana and Arkansas. Those are the areas that will be under the gun this afternoon. So clear skies for us right now, 75 degrees, dew point is at 56. That's still relatively comfortable. Southwesterly winds at about 13 miles per hour. Not much in the way of cloud cover, if any at all. 75 again at the airport, 71 Port SA, 73 Bernie Stage, 70s Rock Springs, Del Rio, pretty consistent temperatures here. And then dew points, they will actually come up a little bit, I think, as we get into midday. But by 5 o'clock, here comes that drier air from the west. And by tonight, the drier air really starts to funnel in as that frontal boundary works through. So dew points in the 40s and 50s going forward. We can't complain about that. That's really good weather. The weekend's going to be just nice. 96 degrees today, hot, obviously. Southwesterly winds 10 to 15 miles per hour. And then we'll go 83 tomorrow and breezy. Those northeasterly winds may kick up to about 10 to 20 miles per hour. 85 on Sunday, and then the humidity starts to return Monday. So we'll get some morning clouds on Monday. Feels more like South Texas next week. So Tuesday and Wednesday, a couple days we'll have to watch. There could be an isolated storm or two. Right now, it looks like anything we see will be few and far between. But if we do see some storms pop up, they could be on the stronger side. So that'll be a time frame to watch next week, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Justin. 9:51, 75 degrees.
You're watching GMSA at 9, and we'll be right back.
Checking TransGuide here in the downtown area, I-10 at Frio looking fantastic, but you can see that that more stagnant air appears to be settling in over San Antonio with that ozone action day today.
That is in effect today, and we've already gained over 20 degrees here. We're now up to 79. We're going to jump into the 80s, probably well into the 90s this afternoon. 96 the high temperature. And we're looking for 80s coming up this weekend. A little cooler behind a frontal boundary, but it will be breezy tomorrow.
I feel so uninformed.
Why?
I have lived here a long time, done a lot of fiesting. I have never heard of a mangonada.
Mangonada, mango Italian ice, mango chunks, chamoy, lime juice, freshly pureed, and frozen mangoes, tamarind straws, sometimes topped with sour candies and rimmed with
tagine.
Sure.
Alcohol, including vodka, rum, and pretty much any preferred spirit, pairs perfectly with this fiesta spirit.
Well, right now on KSAT.com, 10 places to get a mangonada right here in San Antonio.
So we'll just run through them for you real quick. You got Smoke the Restaurant on Commerce.
Ice Baby on Bandera.
The Dog Father on San Pedro.
The Shack, Northwest Loop 410.
Street Treats, that's in Converse, Texas.
Yeah, FM 78 in Converse. Sip It Daiquiris to go over on Pat Booker in Universal City.
Aloha. We are just butchering this. Aloha Shaved Ice Fruit Cups and more on Blanco.
0 degrees over on Bulverde Road.
2 locations, Bulverde and Blanco.
Oh, that's right. And then I love the name of this, Churroholic and Hiccups on South New Braunfels. Churroholic and Hiccups?
Have you guys been drinking mangonadas?
Not yet.
Yes.
It's Friday, though. Oasis Tropical Fruiteria on South Laredo Street. Enjoy. And don't forget to watch the Battle of Flowers at 2 o'clock.
We'll be watching. Have a great weekend, everybody. Viva Fiesta.